Hi, I'm Melanie Barr. Welcome to the She Built It Experience with Melanie. You're here because you want to experience the life and business that you crave. Join me as I talk to women who have successfully built it, a career and business that they love. We dive into the topic of how they built it and talk about everything from having the courage to make career leaps to the details of how to lead effectively, create successful teams, implement strategies for growth, and infuse tech innovation. Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. So let's dive in. Hi, She Built It family. With the speed at which we move today in life and in business, it's so helpful and meaningful to intentionally bring joy into our daily lives, to find joy in the small moments and in all of our wins, big and small. Our lives are so much happier, easier, and richer when we make it a point to realize what brings us joy and intentionally bring it into our lives each day. Because joy is unique to all of us, and what brings us joy can be different for each of us. At the end of every episode of the She Built It podcast, I ask each guest how they find and live their joy. All of the answers from my guests are so empowering and knowledgeable. Here are tips for finding and living your joy from Janae Neustadt, Meg Byrne, Heather Quinn, Rosabelle Tao, and Diana Nguyen. We hope these tips are great reminders and fill your day with added joy.
I love this question because I try to find joy in the absolute smallest of things. And my tip is that it's easy to do that. It's really easy to find joy when you change your perspective. I think it's all about perspective. And I think living in a world with COVID presented a good example of that because so many of us have spent the last year focusing on what we miss. So we miss travel, we miss the interactions with family and friends, we miss major events. But what I've kind of changed my perspective to say, well, what is it that I've been able to do because of COVID and because of not being able to travel? So I shift it. And I know that I've had the ability to spend a lot more time with family. So I've been able to find my joy there. I know, as we talked about, my country roots, I loved being back home, being on the farm, starting that garden, and really all of the great things that came out of that. I was able to find a lot of joy in that as well. So shifting my perspective. But ultimately, for me, it's all about giving. I am the happiest when I am giving to other people, giving back to those within the industry, trying to mentor young women in business, politics, et cetera. That's really what's important to me is the giving. But my tip would be to really change your perspective. And when you do that, I think you can find joy.
That is such a beautiful outlook. And we've all struggled in so many ways throughout this year. But like you said, if we focus on the joyful things, it makes it so much easier. We started to have brunches at our house, and the kids now look forward to this brunch. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's been, like you said, those little moments where you can bring the joy in. And those are probably the things that they and we will remember.
Find what inspires you and hold on to it. If it doesn't feel right, there's a reason for that doubt. Not that you need to turn around completely or stop doing something, but really listening to what brings you pure joy and following that path.
Great advice. 'Cause we can get so busy in our day that we think, oh, sure, we're doing what brings us joy, but are we really focused in on it?
One of the quotes I always loved was, if you never fail, you're only trying things that are too easy and playing far below your level. If you can't remember any time in the last 6 months when you failed, you aren't trying difficult enough things. And so in the entertainment business, I was cruising along, but I wasn't necessarily being challenged. This has been absolutely challenging, but in the best way. And I feel way more empowered having made this transition, although it hasn't been easy in terms of building a whole new business. But there's something satisfying in doing that. And it harkens back to that you don't know how high you can reach if you don't aim high enough. You have one life to live. You got to swing for the fences. In the end, it doesn't matter whether you succeeded to the fullest potential, but you won't know if you don't try.
A big theme of our conversation today has been about curiosity. I would go back to that as being my joy, in that when I feel like I'm satisfying some parts of my curiosity, I get so happy. I mean, whether that it's travel, discovering a new food, really getting to understand another culture that I'm not familiar with, or getting really geeky on topics I might be interested in. I was just watching a master class. The teacher was Chris Voss, who used to be an FBI hostage negotiator. And the class was on negotiation. And I started watching it. And the next thing I know, it's 3 hours later, but it was so good. And I was so happy afterwards. I thought, oh my gosh, that was so good. And I learned something. And so just really being able to scratch that curiosity itch, I think is really fun for me.
Another thing that I've heard from our conversation is you're open. You're open to travel, and you're open to trying new foods, and you're open to new experiences. And I just think that's a great lesson, because sometimes we aren't always as open. We don't always say yes as much as we should.
My 2022 goal is leave space and room for wonder, because we are so much adulting. We have to do this. You have to, I have to, I have to, I have to. And especially with COVID on top of that, it is leaving that space for wonder, because it creates that space for childlike energy and play that's all within us that we tend to forget, or we tend to show down within us. Wonder equals joy. Wonder equals creativity. Wonder equals you being happy.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope the rest of your day, week, and weekend is filled with the intentional joy that makes you smile, happy, and fulfilled. Thank you for joining us today. I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me at hello@shebuiltit.com, on our She Built It website, or at She Built It on social. Thank you to my editor, Rich Streffolino, who always makes us sound good. Until next time, let nothing stop you from experiencing the life and business that you crave.